welcome back to another episode of our life season. So we talk about the different seasons of life and how we grow through it. So in today's episode, we're gonna be talking about act as if, or what I like to call feel as if, like this concept in terms of manifestations and visualizations. So today's episode is episode 22. I came up with this episode idea first, and then I realized, oh my god, episode 22. And I don't know why, but I just felt called to Google like 22 as an angel number. And it turns out that 22 angel number is all about manifestations, your desires and your goals and stuff like that. So I feel like this is so timely. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about a little bit about divine timing as well. I will touch a little bit on that. So I would say that, this is just an example of how, things happen in divine timing. And I, honestly speaking, I didn't plan this episode out. I was just wondering, what I'll be talking about in this week's episode. And yeah, I just felt to talk about, the whole manifestation concept of um, acting as if and feeling as if. So let's just dive straight into it. So the concept of feeling as if, I would say, is so when I say feel as if, what I'm essentially saying is act as if. Okay, it's about the same thing for me. I don't like to call it act as if. I like to call it feel as if, because I feel like for all my manifestations, or when I hear people talking about their manifestations, I realize there's a misconception of how manifestations is about the things that you do. But when I manifest what I manifested, I feel like it's always how I feel. When I feel so strongly about my manifestations, and I mean like really strongly about it, I do get random days where I'm just excited for no particular reason. I just feel this butterfly in my stomach, and my stomach just start to churn in a good way. That's when my manifestations start coming in like quick. So, and not so much about acting though. Like I feel like when I try to, at the very start of my manifestation journey, like listening to podcasts or just scrolling through TikTok videos talking about manifestations, I would say that a lot of times the creators or people would actually tell you to journal or script your way through manifestations. But I think one thing that is not talked about is the feelings behind it. And it's the key to actually manifestation, at least in my opinion. I feel like, because I have one of my girlfriends actually came up to me, and she was like, "Oh, you should try this manifestation technique." And she sent me a video on TikTok talking about how you should be scripting and how you should be actually like manifesting in a sense. It's a lot on doing, like what you should do during full moon or new moon or whatever moon. But what I told her, and what I realized then, was that it's a lot about feeling. It doesn't really matter what you do, because I always believe that it's not about what you do, but more on like who you are when you're doing it, what you are feeling when you're doing it. Because honestly speaking, like your feelings and your emotions are very, very, very strong for your manifestations. Because our actions and the thoughts that we have are based on our feelings. So we actually feel first before we actually start taking action. Okay, so I wouldn't really call it like act as if, even though I know that it is like the proper term, or a term that people would kind of know. But what I like to call and change to is feel as if. Okay, so basically what it is that you feel into the person who has the manifestations that you want to manifest, right? So which is your higher self. Like how does he or she feel at the moment receiving the manifestations, or who is he or she, like, how do you feel? And it's a lot on visualizations and just journaling. Yes, scripting and journaling is part of manifestation, but I would say that the first point, like the first foundation that you should be looking at, is actually feeling into it. Because like I mentioned a lot of times, if you don't believe that you can manifest, or if you don't believe that you are worthy of the manifestations or worthy of your desires, nothing will help. It doesn't matter how many times you journal it out, how many times you start scripting, or going through the proper process of like creating rituals for manifestations during new moon, or like, I don't know, what's the other moon, like, yeah, new moon or full moon, it doesn't really matter. Okay, because if you don't feel it, no matter how many times you write it out, you're just not gonna feel it, and your manifestation is not gonna come, because you have this doubt. And this doubt is what is the energy that you're sending out to the universe, right? So a lot of times, if you realize that, for me at least, when I realize that I start manifesting things, is because I start to send out signals to the universe that I'm ready for it, that I believe that I can have these manifestations no matter how long it takes. And I don't hold on to, the timeline. I don't set a timeline for myself. I know that I eventually will receive these manifestations and I move on with life. Okay. I don't sit there and start to wonder when it's gonna come. Because I have been through two types of manifestations, or two different journeys of manifestations, where at the very start I was always worried about when it's gonna come. I was worried about whether or not it's gonna come, or like, am I even worthy of this manifestation? I start to doubt if this manifestation is actually something that I can achieve, because it's actually really huge, and I start to give a timeline to it. And because of that, I feel like it's so much more boring, or rather it becomes something that I hated a lot. Just the thought of manifestation, or just the thought of my desire scares me, and it creates a lot of fear and a lot of anger within like these manifestations. And I feel like that's also the reason why I was constantly frustrated, and I was very, very, very impatient. And of course, the energy that I had was so bad and was so negative, that this is the signal that I'm sending out to the universe. If you think about it this way, like, if you're constantly, so impatient, and you're like just all over the place, you're just really frantic and you're panicking, this is the type of energy that you're sending out to the universe. And this is exactly the same type of energy that you're going to be attracting back into your life. Okay, chaos. Because I feel like when I see my manifestations as something that I truly do enjoy, and I feel so excited thinking about it, the whole entire game changed. Because at least for me, like, whatever that I've manifested, and I'll be talking about this in another episode. I will list out all my manifestations, and I'll probably have to split into two parts. But um when I manifest things, and when I kind of dissect how it came into my life, it's always at a part where I am just not expecting it to come into my life. And I would say that, for a lot of people it is the same as well. What I like to do now is that I like to put my manifestations out there into the universe, and then I would go about my day. I do not worry about it. I do not think about whether or not I'm gonna manifest it or when it's gonna come. I trust that it's gonna come. Because if you think about it this way, like this analogy that I love to think about it, let's just say you want to create a garden, right? Your beautiful, aesthetically pleasing garden. What you would do is you will first actually start to think about and visualize how that garden would look like, right? Like, what is nice to you. And then you would think about the specific areas of where that particular plant is. Let's just say you want an apple tree in your garden, right? Where would you want the apple tree to be at? Or where would you want that particular flowers to be at? How is it going to look like? And when you think about all this, like, start getting excited. Walk yourself through the excitement, and walk yourself through that visualization, the very specific spot. So when you do that, what do? The action part comes later, right? When you have all these visualizations, you would start taking action. So let's just say, like I mentioned, the apple tree, right? Let's just say it's at a specific spot in your garden on the left side. So you would go there, plant the seeds. And when you plant the seeds, you will of course water it and fertilize it, nurture it and stuff like that, right? But one thing that you do is you actually believe that it's gonna sprout. You don't wake up the next day going to the garden and looking at the seeds and be like, oh my god, why is it not a tree yet? Why does it not have apples on it yet? Right? Because you trust and you know that it takes time. So, same thing for your manifestations. Know that it takes time, and know that you can actually trust that the universe is gonna let it come into your life in divine timing. Because, like I mentioned, I always believe that the universe only gives you things that you need. It might not be things that you want. Things that you want might come after that, after you're at a level where you are able to achieve, or rather you are able to hold that space for that manifestations to come into it. Because sometimes we may think that we are ready for our manifestations, but the truth to be told is that we are not. And these are kind of like the signs that the universe gives you. So when your manifestations don't come in, don't think that it's because it's never gonna happen. Think of it as a way that, as a sign that, okay, there are still more things that you can need to work on yourself before the manifestations will start coming in. Okay, so I would never hate, or rather I would never go into this spiral of like, oh my god, it's not coming, it's not gonna be there, blah blah blah. Because just like how we order food, right? Like, whether it's Uber Eats or Food Panda, whatever it is, like, we always believe that once we place our orders, we trust that the chef or the restaurant is going to deliver it to us, right? You don't start worrying, you don't start looking at like your driver and stuff like that. Yes, every now and then we do look at it, but you are not so hard up on like, oh my god, is it gonna come? Like, is it gonna come? Like, you don't have anxiety around it. So do this for your manifestations as well. It's the same thing. I believe that when you start to look at your manifestations as something that you really do enjoy, like it's something that brings you so much joy and so much excitement, just thinking about it, I think that's when like you kind of have this like playful energy. And I talk about this a lot, like this playful energy towards life, right? When you have that, you realize that everything that happens for you in your life, they happen in divine timing. And whatever that you manifest, you are so grateful for it. You know, I feel like manifestations come in a lot of forms. It may come in small forms and bigger forms. But I feel like when you start to be grateful for the little things that you manifest, that is like I would say it opens up a pathway to manifest bigger things, because this kind of like the way how I like to see it is like this is kind of like the way the universe is testing you in a sense, whereby it gives you your little manifestations and see how you react to it. Because if you don't find your manifestations, those little manifestations, as something that's important, or if you're not grateful for it, then what makes you think that you can actually handle bigger manifestations? What makes you think that you actually deserve bigger manifestations, right? Because you can't even be grateful for the little things. When the bigger manifestations start coming in, you would just feel like it's just another day, right? So I would say that hold this special, emotions to yourself and look at your manifestations and just feel excited, because I can tell you that before manifesting, I've always had these moments of excitement and I can't describe it. Like, I recorded all these moments down. Whenever I feel this excitement, I'll whip up my phone and I'll start recording myself, just talking through how I feel and just recording this excitement, because I know one day I'm going to look back at it and be like, oh my god, this is exactly why I manifested what I want to manifest. And these recordings, I do actually post them as short snippets, golden nuggets I would like to call them, on my Instagram. So it's under a highlight of raw talks, so you can actually see that I'm in a different setting, of course. And even though the audio quality may not be the best, but it's still an example of just me feeling into my visualization and manifestations before I actually have them. And I kid you not, every single time, like after I record moments like that, is either like few months or few weeks down the road, like my manifestations start to come into my life. And it's always in the most shocking way possible. Like, I've never thought about it, but it just comes into my life. And whenever I look back at it, I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly what I wanted, like few years down the road. Because one thing that I like to kind of say is that know that whatever that you have right now was once your dream. Whatever situation that you're in right now was once a dream to you. Okay, looking back 5 to 10 years ago, 3 years ago, or even last year, you may have this visualization of what you want, right? But you don't really think much about it. You put it at the back of your mind. And then it actually really happened. And it always will happen in divine timing. Because I always believe that our are so powerful that whatever that you say, it's true. Okay, if you tell yourself that you're capable to manifest the things that you want to manifest, you can do it. If you tell yourself that you can't, you can't. Because like I mentioned a lot of times, like our minds are so, I can't stress this enough. Our mind is so powerful. So please use it to your advantage, okay? And it's so important for manifestations. So going back to feeling it before actually having it come to your life is so important. Okay, so there are a lot of ways that you can actually feel into it. So I'll kind of talk about a few type of like routines. I wouldn't call it routines, but rather a few ways that I would do when it comes to manifestation. Okay. So there is scripting, like I mentioned. I'm not an expert in scripting, but there are certain open inverted rules that you have to follow when it comes to scripting. You can check that out, on TikTok. I think just by searching, you will see kind of people talking about it. And I'm not an expert at it, but what I like to do is actually to write it in my journal. So I don't kind of split like my manifestation journal with my normal journal. I kind of keep it together. But what I like to do during my manifestation journal is before journaling, I will set up the whole environment to a point whereby I feel safe and I feel comfortable enough, and it puts me in such a good mood, right? Whether or not it's playing like a playlist, putting on my fairy lights, offing my lights, lighting up a candle, whatever it is for you, set it up in a sense whereby you feel good. Like, you start to feel this, like, I don't know, this tickling feeling of like, oh my god, like I get to manifest what I want to manifest. Then what I like to do is take out my journal and I start to write in past tense. Okay, this is really like the key to start writing in past tense. So this is the act as if part. So when you start to write what I like to start off is, dear universe, thank you so much for giving me or blessing me with your manifestation. So start writing out. And then I don't just stop there. What I like to do is go deeper and talk about, like, who am I with when it happened? Like, what was I doing? What was I wearing? Like, how do I feel? Like, how did that manifestation come into my life? Go into detail and kind of like, it's as if you're like reliving the moment, right? Instead of thinking of it as like a future thing, think of it as a past thing that you've already manifested it. So I think this is kind of like quite common where everyone is talking about it. So try this out. When you start to journal, start to feel into it as well. I think the most important part is to feel into it. Don't write things that you don't feel like 100%, right? If you still feel like you kind of don't really believe in it, don't write it down, because like I mentioned, if you don't feel like all these emotions writing down, if you don't feel all this excitement, there's no point in you writing down. It'll just be words on a paper. Okay, so the most important part when it comes to whether it's scripting or whether it's journaling or just visualization, I would say that you gotta feel into your emotions. You gotta feel like your heart is beating, like you're so excited, that you really feel like you're living in the moment. You're living in that moment where your manifestations is coming into your life. So this is the key. I can't stress this enough. Feel into it, feel into it, feel into it. Okay. Like, do whatever it takes for you to feel into it. And it may be tough at the very start because you may be wondering, or right now you may have your reservations of, whether or not it's actually going to happen, or whether or not manifestation is even real. I can tell you that if you think that it's real, it's real. If you think that it's not real, it's not real. Okay, like I mentioned to you, there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever that you say is coming true, whatever that you think is right. Okay, so give it a try. I don't see any harm in actually trying out, because I was very skeptical about manifestations as well. Like, I know the feeling of hearing people talk about their manifestation and how they manifest things so quickly. And I remember thinking that, is it even true? Like, it sounds like a scam. It sounds too good to be true. And that right there is the reason why I haven't been manifesting the things that I want to manifest. Okay, because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the whole concept of manifestation. I don't believe that it's gonna come like fast, and that it can come into my life quickly. But when I move past this stage of doubting myself and just go into this whole concept of just trying it out and see what happens, let me tell you, like, there's so much manifestations that I have manifested into my life that is just so insane. Like, I remember telling my friend, like, oh my god, like, I can't believe this happened to me, and it happened this fast. One example is that when I remember, I think a few months back, I was in the bus, and I just felt like, I was listening to this podcast on manifestation and stuff like that. And I think one of like the podcaster was saying that, why not just try manifesting something today and see how it turns out, right? So what I didn't know why, but what I had in mind was I wanted to manifest like $300 out of nowhere into my bank account. And mind you, I was actually working a 9 to 5 back then. So my pay wasn't due until like another few more weeks. So I didn't have like a sideline, I didn't have any side jobs and stuff like that. So I was thinking, how am I gonna like manifest it? But I just wanted to put things out there and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna manifest $300. I don't know how it's gonna come to me, but I know that it was gonna come to me, right? Same thing, going back to feeling into it. And I was really feeling into it. I closed my eyes and visualized how it's gonna happen, or how I felt when it happened. Okay, so the most crazy thing happened when I went up like to my office and just really sit there and just carry on and going about my day, not worrying about things like that. 2 hours later, after I put it out there to the universe that I want to manifest like $300 or $200, I received a text from one of my past client telling me that he has like a project for me to be done, and that cost was $300. Okay, and it's so insane that I was like, wait, what? Like, I didn't expect, having projects coming in like this. And the moment that I saw this opportunity and saw this text, I was like, oh my god, like, manifestation can be this quick. Like, it shocks me. This was my first time that I actually manifested something within like 2 hours, and it was insane. And it showed me so much about how important it is when you start to feel into it, because I truly believe that I was gonna manifest $300, and I start to act as if I have already manifested that $300, right? I wasn't worried about how it's gonna come. I wasn't trying to find ways to make sure that $300 was coming to my bank, right? I just let it be, and I know that it's gonna come. And if it doesn't happen, it's fine as well. Okay, so I think this is kind of like the mindset that I would encourage you to have when you start your manifestation journey, of just going in and see what happens, right? Just go in with this fun energy of like, I'm gonna just try. What's the worst that can happen? Like, you're back to square one, that's fine, right? And the best thing that can happen is that you manifest what you want to manifest, and you prove to yourself that you can actually manifest things within a short period of time, or rather when you can actually manifest things when you feel into it. So I would say really try to just feel into things and just go with the flow. And not I think the key to manifestations is to not never ever set a timeline to it, because that's really the thing that's gonna kill your manifestations. Okay, and I know this, like, based on experience. And I mentioned, don't ever set a timeline to it. This is the first thing that can kill your manifestation right off the bat. Okay, because when you set a timeline to it, you would start to kind of look into, the timeline, and be nitty picky about all the little, like, check marks. Because honestly, manifestations, they don't have check marks. Okay, when you're ready, you will naturally have it, and that's something that I always believe. Everything will happen in divine timing. Every manifestations happen in divine timing, big or small. Okay, so start by little manifestations like that. Just play games with yourself and have fun in life. Like, just see like what you want to manifest. And it may not be, money or financial gains. It can just be as simple as, oh, I just kind of want to manifest, someone reaching out to me, like a very close friend of mine who have not been in contact for a very long period of time, reach out to me. Think about it, feel into how you would feel when the person reach out to you, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot of like crazy manifestation stories. I'm not gonna go into, details about how it's gonna work, but just know that you can. And it's true, I am very skeptical about things like this at the very start, but when it happened to me, I realized that, oh, this can be true. And like I mentioned, if you don't believe in it, doesn't matter. Take what resonates, live what doesn't, right? This podcast is a very safe space, and I'm very open about, my journey. Of course, there are manifestations that I have not manifested yet that I would love to manifest. Am I worried about it? No. Are those manifestations big and it takes time? Yes, I do acknowledge that. And one of them I'm not afraid to share is that I think I mentioned this before. Like, I have always wanted to have an apartment, or my future apartment, with a sea view, right? An example is right now I'm currently living with my parents, and my view from my house right now, it's currently like trees. Okay, it's nowhere near a sea view and a high rise building, but what I do like to do is that I like to look out the window, and I close my eyes and I visualize that sea view. I visualize putting myself in that dream house, and visualize how it feels like to smell like the sea smell, and just have like breeze, like the wind passing by my face, and just how it feels like to be in that moment. And I tell you that this is so powerful. Visualization is so powerful, and I may not have that now, but I hope that you can be on this journey to kind of find out how things happen. And I'm very sure, and I believe that it's gonna happen soon enough. Maybe, I don't know, in a few years time. Like I mentioned, I don't have a timeline for it, but this is just one of the manifestations that I truly believe in, and it feels so good every single time that I close my eyes and visualize my dream house and having that sea view. It feels so good in my body, and I 100% believe that I'll get there. So this is the stage that you kind of want to reach, is that when you look at your manifestations, you don't look at it as like a thing that you dread, like, oh my god, is it even gonna come? Like, you don't want to have all these like negative feelings around it, or negative energy around it. When you think about your manifestations, I want you to think about it as a part of like your excitement, part of like a joy, right? Something that keeps you going, something that gets you excited, something that just, makes you feel like in life there's so much hope and so much joy, that miracles happen every single day, because that's something that I truly believe in. Miracles happen every single day, and it can happen for you. Okay, I want you to take this and run with this in your manifestations. Whatever that you want to manifest, big or small, know that miracles happen every single day, and it can happen to you, that you are capable enough, that you are worthy enough for miracles to happen to you and in your life. Okay, so as long as you believe in this, I feel like, honestly speaking, you will be able to see your manifestation soon enough. okay, you really gotta feel into it. I think one of the questions that you gotta ask yourself is, what is it that you can do right now to actually bring you closer to your dream life? So, like I mentioned, my dream life, one of it is to own an apartment that has a sea view, right? It may not be in my reality right now, and it may be really hard. But one of the actions that I can take is to go house viewing, right? I could go for house viewing whereby there is a sea view, and I could go there and just to soak in the environment and to really physically feel how it feels like to be able to stand in front of a sea view, right? Or I could drive past like neighborhoods that I want to be in, that my dream apartment would be in, and soak in all the environment. And as I'm driving through these neighborhoods, I would kind of imagine myself living in it, right? I would feel as if like, okay, I'm living here. This is just a normal day of like driving out and enjoying my day, right? How would you feel? What is your manifestations and what are the actions that you can take to actually get there? And then when you think about it, like how would you feel? Do it, take the action, and when you're doing the action, the most important part is to feel into it. I cannot stress this enough. If you want to take anything out of this podcast today, I would highly recommend you to know that your feelings is validated, and just know that you should feel like excitement. You should feel that your manifestations is something that is like, a present. Every single day it's a present. It's a gift that you are able to manifest. It's a gift that you have all these desires that you want to manifest. It's a gift that these manifestations come to you for a reason. Okay, all these are bundles of joy in life, and all these are like a gift. It's like Christmas season all year round. Okay, how good does it feel to be having gifts given to you by the universe all year round, and with a snap of a finger, just saying that, I want to manifest this, like, dear universe, I want to manifest this, and seeing it come into your life. I think one of the important thing also is gratitude. I can't stress this enough. I feel like having gratitude for the things that you already have, that you're about to have, is so important, because when you put yourself in a situation whereby you're just so grateful for the things that you already have in life, all small things and big things in life, what essentially you're doing is you're actually putting your energy out into the universe and tell the universe that this is something that I'm very grateful for and I want more of it. Because when you're grateful for something, naturally it means that you want more of it, right? So I would say that, like, be grateful. Because one thing I realized for me, again, is that before manifesting what I want to manifest, I have always gone through this phase of like feeling the excitement in my body, like butterflies, and just feeling like my heart skip a little. And I don't know why, I just feel so energetic and so excited for the day, excited for the month, excited for the week. And then I would go straight into gratification. I would be like, oh my god, I start to look at the world so differently and be so grateful for the things that I already have, the things that I am about to have. And that ties in with my manifestations. And when I go through this cycle, my manifestations usually come like the week later, or like a few hours later, or even like few months later, and I will always be surprised. And then after being surprised and shocked and just filled with emotions, I realized, yeah, of course it's gonna come to me. I manifested this like few months back. Of course it's gonna come. It's about time that it come, right? You kind of have like this sense of entitlement, which is in a way good, because I feel like most of the time people would just be like, oh, I can't, like, I'm not someone that can manifest such a thing. And we kind of put ourselves down and don't believe that we can, and we are not confident in it. But when you have this sense of like entitlement in a good way, of like, of course it's gonna come, like, I'm so great that my manifestations want to come into my life, that I deserve so much. And you start to work on yourself a little bit more, right? You start to work on your confidence. You start to think about who you are having that manifestation, who you need to be to have that manifestation. And when you think about it that way, everything just goes smoothly, and all the journaling, all the scripting is just like a bonus to speed up your manifestation, right? Because when you put it normally, like, you would write it down and you put it at the back of your mind and just live life normally. So just know that when you feel into your manifestations and you feel strongly about it, I can't really explain it to you in words, but you would know what I mean, right? For people who have manifested, you would know what I mean. Like, you feel so much joy and you feel like life is just like a gift. Like, you're the universe favorite child. I think that's one of the things that I love to tell people, that I feel like I'm the universe favorite child. And I And I believe that I'm the universe favorite child, that every single thing happens for me in divine timing, that I'm just given gifts left, right, center, that I'm just so showered with love. The people around me loves me for who I am. Like the universe loves me by letting miracles happen to me every single day, because I do believe that miracles happen every single day, and I start to see miracles happening every single day. Okay, like I mentioned this before, like the whole entire process is very simple. It starts with your feelings, your thoughts, then your actions, and then your reality. Okay, it is like that. What your inner world reflects your external world. So right now, if you're not satisfied with your external world, look inside. It's time to look inside and see, what is it that you're trying to avoid, what is it that you're like but trying to convince yourself with. So look at all these things. Like there has to be a reason why you're not satisfied with your reality, or rather you don't feel like you can manifest certain things, or rather you feel like you're not enough, or you're not there yet. Because these are really common feelings, but I would say that the root problem would always be internally, like your internal world. Try to take time to understand your internal world, because that's when everything would just be streamlined. Okay, your whole life just feels so much easier. At least for me, I feel like this year has been a year that I have worked so much internally. I've grown so much internally. I've matured so much internally, like my mindset wise, that everything else just seems like it's my reality. Like my reality really shows, right? When I really work internally, I start to see like manifestations out of nowhere. I start to see money coming out of nowhere, abundance. I start to feel so good in life every single day. I feel like the people that I attract into my life are also very aligned with who I am, and they grow together with me. I start to not have negative people in my life. I start to not have constant negative energy that is around me, that that is so sucky, that just drains my energy out. Like people around me really brings me up together with them. And I want you guys to be in this part of your life as well, right? I want you guys to feel like that, because it's honestly the most amazing feeling that one can have. And for that to happen, that's why this podcast, I really hope that I can share like whatever that has worked for me, and I hope that you can actually take what resonates and run with it, to really start to understand where I'm coming from, and just try out like things that you want to try. Start to tell yourself that this is the year that I'm going to grow. Like 2024 is the year that I'm going to grow. Leaving 2023 behind, whatever that has happened, like the negative stuff, know that you can actually live them behind, start the year afresh. Okay, because I know that a lot of people say this, like they want to start the year afresh, and then halfway through they kind of fall back into their habits. But what I want to say is that change starts with you, and it starts right now. That you can change anything and everything at this moment when you decide to change. Okay, this is really important. Know that you don't have to wait for anything to fall into your lap. You don't have to wait for XYZ or for the stars to be aligned before you can actually change your reality, because your future really depends on what you do right now. Okay, like I mentioned, delayed gratification, whatever that you do right now, whatever actions or decisions that you make right now is going to affect your future. So know that every single thing, every single outcome that you want can be done by your decision. It can be done by you yourself, because you're the creator of your reality, you're the creator of your future. You are the opera in power. So please, 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 please know that you hold so much power. Don't be afraid of it. Run with it. Have fun with it. Because honestly, in life, I feel like when you start to learn that life is just a really fun game, and we don't have like specifically like a blueprint on how to live life. Everyone's life is so different, that you get to just have fun with this lifetime. Know that whatever that you want will come naturally to you. Okay, because know that you're so powerful that you create your own reality. Like how amazing is that, to know that you're not bound by your circumstances, you're not bound by your environment. Like whatever your environment, that whatever environment you're in right now, it doesn't really matter, because you can change that. And you can change that internally. Start by internally, because your internal environment is so important that it almost can cover like your external environment, right? Whatever that is going on internally, if it's so strong, that you've built a foundation that is so strong, it doesn't really matter what happens outside of your internal world, which is your environment, your open inverted reality. I would say that you have actually honestly lived a life that is so powerful, because you know that one day, just one day, you're gonna reach where you want to reach. You're gonna be where you want to be. You're gonna be where you deserve to be. Okay, so I would say that honestly, feel into whatever feelings that you need to feel. to get yourself to believe that you can manifest the things that you want to manifest. Know that your manifestations are here for a reason. They are here for you. They are here to they are here for you to manifest them. Okay, they are like nudges from the universe to tell you that, hey, this is something that you are capable of doing. Because if not, it's not gonna appear in your mind. It's not even gonna be something that you would want to manifest, or you would even think of manifesting. Because if you think of manifesting that particular desire or that particular, I don't know, goal that you want, it's meant to be in your life for a reason, and it came to you because it recognizes that you have the ability to manifest it, even though you may not see it now. But it sees that potential in you, it sees that capability in you, and it knows that you're gonna manifest that thing, that it's meant to be in your life. Okay, so I hope that honestly you understand kind of like a little bit better on the concept of act as if, which I like to call feel as if. And yeah, I'm still on my journey of manifestation, and I can't wait to share more on, you know, what I've manifested so far. And yeah, like my whole journey of manifestation basically, because I'm still quite new to this, and it's honestly amazing and shocking how much I've manifested, being like a open inverted beginner of manifestation and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that you enjoy this podcast episode, and as per usual, I'll see you in the next one.